What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 11 team building video, and today we're going to be looking at Dialga. Now, Dialga is actually one of my favorite restricteds in a Dynamax format, and it is one of those mons that actually really appreciated Dynamax. Just like Metagross, just like Solgaleo, all three of these mons, they, as the big dominant steel types in a restricted format, they very much appreciated Dynamax because of Max Steelspike for those defense boosts, Max Quakes for, special defense boosts, and just overall, just being bulky and being able to deal big damage when you are Dynamax. Dialga very much missed it, and now that it's back, people are running, weakness policy sets on it. They're running AV for coverage moves on it. They're doing Trick Room variants. So a lot of different ways you can try and build and use Dialga, but the fact of the matter is, it's a Dragon Steel type. It's very bulky. Yes, it has a ground weakness, but that just means you need a flying pivot and then you're fine. But overall, Dialga is really good because as a special attacker, you don't get Intimidate spammed. And the only thing that can really neuter your Dynamax is stuff like Snarl or even like Eerie Impulse. But there are ways to deal with that, and as long as you play correctly and don't just Dynamax turn one on most games, and just be aware of like Prankster Thunderous, Eerie Impulse, or anything like that, then Dialga is actually a very good restricted. And the way we're going to use Dialga, we have a lot of damage calcs where Dialga could just basically live everything in the meta. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with the team. So we have a steel type, we have a dragon type. So of course we're gonna bring back the secondary Cloverbells mascot. We're gonna go Grimmsnarl here, and it's gonna be a screens Grimmsnarl set, just like the ones we've always used in Series 10 and even Series 8. It's back again, and Grimmsnarl Dialga is really good because once you see our movesets, we can go for stuff like Scary Face to get speed control for Dialga, and I might as well just put that here. You can even go with stuff like Fake Tears to reduce special defenses, so this way Dialga does insane damage. But we're not going to go with Fake Tears here. Scary Face will be our Clover tech of choice on Grimmsnarl here. And then from here, we'll just have like coverage for everything else in the meta. But also, I do want to take note of Telepathy. This ability basically makes sure that if you go for stuff like Earthquake, something that would hit your ally, Dialga won't take damage. So this is why Landorus is really good on a Dialga team. And now you get Intimidate support and you get your answer to Sun teams. So Landorus and Dialga are very strong. And if we're going to go Trick Room on Dialga, which we are, so I might as well just add it here, then Amoonguss is a great option on the team, especially if we're a Regenerator, because now Amoonguss behind screens can pivot in and out and start regenerating its health. You can get redirection support for Dialga with Trick Room, and you can also get redirection support for your Landorus because we're going to be going with Swords Dance plays, greedy techs that I always like to play with. So yeah, Amoonguss, Landorus, Dialga, and Grimmsnarl, it's a very good solid 4. And then from here, we're just going to have some other stuff to check, Calyrex, Zacian, Kyogre, the other Calyrex, and just overall have a very good solid team and just more support for Dialga. And we're gonna go with Incineroar here because Incineroar is Incineroar. You could basically splash this on any team at this point, right? So Incineroar very much benefits from a Landorus pivot because if a Max Quake is coming into Incineroar, you can just go into your Landorus. So just like for Groudon that wants to go for Precipice Blades, Dialga and Incineroar, they don't want to take that, right? So if you can swap into your Landorus and then just intimidate that Groudon going for that Precipice Blades, then it does, it's very good. And then from here, our last slot, so notice we have a Dragon Fairy Steel. Technically with this we have a Grass type, we have a Fire type. The last one that we're going to go with is a Water type, just so that we have both cores on the team. And I am going to go with G-MaxBlastoise. Yeah, I mean, Blastoise was seeing a rise in Series 9, right? Because it did so well with Grimmsnarl. It did well with Prankster Thunderous. And just it started to pick up late in Series 8, but then the format ended, right? But now that Series 11 is going to start, I feel like, besides Lapras, Blastoise is a very dominant water type to have. And you could build it so many different ways. You could go like a support set with like Yawn, Fake Out, and Icy Wind plays. So this way you can get speed control, and then you can punish Dynamaxes with Yawn, and then Fake Out is Fake Out, right? You get another Fake Out on the team, or you can just go a more offensive set with like Hydro Cannons and Ice Beams and Shell Smash, which is actually the one we're gonna go. So we're just gonna go with Shell Smash here, and Shell Smash with Amoonguss is yet another great combo. And we're gonna go. I'm not gonna tell you the item yet until we finish building out the team. But hey, again, Grimmsnarl, Blastoise screen support. You know, it works. And you know, Blastoise can be Dynamaxed on this team. You know, just for G-MaxCannonade and you know G-Max Hailstorm. You know, double residual damage, and then you know stuff like Landorus and Dialga can just come in from the back and then just finish the job, right? So I feel like this is a solid 6. So let's just go ahead and do our EVs, our items, and our movesets. All right, so now let's just take a look at Dialga here. So I did mention that we are going to use Trick Room on this. Again, very good with Amoonguss especially, right? Because then you can just spore everything. But what about the rest of the moves? So of course we're going to be going with Flash Cannon as its stab move, and Earth Power. So you know, hard hitting Max Steel Spike, that's a stab move, and then Max Quake is really good with Dialga, so you can increase your special defense. And if you look at Dialga's base stats here, it's very, very bulky. Base 100 HP, base 120 defense, base 100 special defense, and then 150 special attack. So you know, Dialga does a lot of damage, especially when it's Dynamax. So yeah, I mean, these are very, very good moves. And then one last coverage move here. So you know, there's a few things you could do. You could do Flamethrower, you could do Thunderbolt, you can do Ice Beam, you know, just against opposing Landorus, you know, because Landorus ground attacks, Dialga doesn't want to deal with that, so having Ice Beam on Dialga really, really helps a lot. But we're gonna put the Ice Beam on Blastoise, so I feel like we don't need, I don't know if we need double ice coverage. I think we could use the electric coverage. So Thunderbolt is going to be good here, and this will give us something to hit Kyogre with, right? So Thunderbolt will be our move of choice, and then we're just going to go Life Orb here. So we're going to go with hard hitting Dialga, and I like this a lot. I don't think we need the Assault Vest on this team. Yeah, you'll get more coverage moves, but you have a Grimmsnarl already. So you know, in this kind of squad, I think going offensive with the Life Orb makes sense. So yeah, so now let's just take a look at our EV spread. So I feel like just going for 112 and then going modest is going to be what we're going to do with Dialga. So at least this way, other Trick Room Dialgas, it'll give us a chance to be faster than them, because they're probably not going to be running any speed, or maybe just 4 speed. So yeah, we just go for 112. And then what's good about this number is after we have Scary Face on Grimmsnarl, then we could outspeed a lot of threats that are trying to like outspeed Calyrex Shadow. So I think that's really useful. And then if you want to outspeed Calyrex Shadow itself, you can go like Thunder Wave on this. So yeah, I really like just 12 speed on Dialga in general. And then from here, we're just gonna almost max out our special attack. So we're gonna go third EV bump here, which is right here. So notice at 228, we're at 218 special attack. And then one more investment in the EVs makes us go to 220. So there's our third EV bump. And then from here, we're just going to optimize our Life Orb chip. So I'm looking at potentially 199, you know, just so that we have a good amount of bulk. And then we'll go with an even number in the defense. So this way, when we go for Max Steel Spikes, we get a nice integer instead of a decimal. Because if we get a decimal, then Pokemon will round it down. And then just a little bit of SPDEF, just because. And then again, it's an even number. So when we go for Max Quakes, we get a whole number. So yeah, this is our hard-hitting, bulky Dialga spread that works in Trick Room and can work with what speed control that we have. All right, so now Grimmsnarl. So of course we're gonna go Light Clay here, and of course we're gonna go with Light Screen Reflect. Okay, that's our screen set. Now you can go Thunder Wave or Scary Face here, so it's up to you. I like Scary Face just because you can use it again after you use it once, and you can hit Landorus with it, and yeah, and even like other ground types, like even a Groudon, right? So then from here, of course, we're gonna go Spirit Break just to like reduce special attack, and it's gonna be our only attacking move on it. So we gotta have that, because if we get taunted, we're in trouble. And then from here, we'll just go with a typical standard set that we've always liked to use on our Grimmsnarl. So it's gonna be Impish, and we're gonna go, I believe, let's go 84 speed. So this way, after 2 Airstreams from Landorus, we can at least outspeed base 100s by 1 point. I think that's more than enough there. And let's just go third bump in our defense. Should be here. Yeah, there it is. So 119, 121. So 196 investment. And then from here, let's just go for that magic 103 prime number with 60 investment, 4 attack, and then the rest in HP. So yeah, this is our standard Grimmsnarl screen set at the beginning of the format thus far. So I think it works well. But yeah, so Scary Face, Grimms, and Dialga, very, very nice. Now for Landorus, so this is going to be like one of our sun killers, right? So I do like Lumbrea on this. So this way, if we're up against a Venusaur or an Amoonguss, when we click Trick Room, and if they want to click Spore on us, you know, the Lumbrea says ha, right? But yeah, other than that, standard moveset on our Landorus, it's going to be Earthquake, not Earth Power. It's going to be, again, Fly and Rock Slide. So we have Max Quake, Max Airstream, and Max Rockfall to change the weather. And then from here, we're going to go with one of my Series 9 sets, believe it or not. And I think it's still relevant even now. So we're going to go Jolly Landorus, but we're only going to have enough speed to outspeed G-Max Timid Venusaur, which is going to be 146. So this way, without the weather, we outspeed it. So yeah, I think that's worth it. And then from here, our attack investment, we're going to go 196. I think that's fine. And again, it's an even number. So this way, when we click Swords Dance, we get a nice whole number and not decimal, where it'll round it down. And then from here, we'll just go a tiny bit of Spadef. All right, a little bit of defense. And then we'll go, what is it, 175. Yeah, I feel like this is enough. So yeah, this is our Landorus spread, and the reason why we're going again 175 is so that we optimize hail chip damage, or just weather damage in general. Yeah, but that's what I meant, hail chip damage, where, you know, if you divide by 16, it'll always just round it down. So I really like this spread, but I do want to also make note of something else with what we're using. And I'm looking at the numbers here. Wait a minute. Let me just make sure I have this correct. Oh yeah, I still have a little bit of Spadef. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, that's our Landorus spread. Amoonguss, again, another one that's relatively straightforward. We're gonna go Focus Sash here, and I really like the Sash on this kind of team, because with the Focus Sash on the Amoonguss, you can at least guarantee to live 1 attack, or maybe even 2, because we have a setup play with Landorus for Swords Dance. We're going to have a setup play for Shell Smash. We're going to have a setup with Trick Room. So very important that our Amoonguss is able to take at least guaranteed 1 attack, right? And if it can take 2, where, you know, it'll get knocked down to 1 HP and then it'll take the 2nd attack, even better, because then we get our setup move, or we get up our Trick Room, and then we get a free switch into something else on the next turn. So Rage Powder, that's what's going to give us the redirection support. Spore. Pollen Puff is a good one, and then Protect, and I'll explain why Pollen Puff is good. So you can heal your Dialga, which is really nice. Actually no, it has Telepathy, but you can also heal your Landorus when it's Dynamax if you redirect with it. You can also heal your Blastoise, and I'll show you why that's pretty good in a second. But yeah, I really like Pollen Puff on this team, where you can heal your allies. And in terms of our spread, we're just going to go 0 investment, no Turbo Shroom this time, but we'll go 219 HP here in terms of a stat. So this way we can optimize Regenerator. And again, we're behind screen, so Amoonguss is really, really going to like this. And then from here, we'll just go a plus and a minus here. Where is this? Yeah, right here. So we're going to go our Relaxed spread. Actually, no, I lied. We're gonna go Sassy. So we'll go first bump. Where is it? Right here, and then the rest we're gonna go in our defense. So this is our Amoonguss spread at the moment. So I really like this. And then Incineroar. So we have Landorus, which will also help against Sun, but I feel like Incin, you can go a couple items here. You can even go like an offensive Incin, where you can put the Assault Vest on this thing now. And you can go Adamant 116 if you choose. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But I'm going to show you another kind of Incin, but I'm just going to show this one first. Just in case you want to explore Adamant Incin. But yeah, 116 is what I like here. And then 95 speed, just so you are always almost a faster Incineroar. A little bit of a good amount of HP here, 244. And then 4 defense, and then 28 SPDF, you know, something like this. So this is like an Adamant Incineroar where you can go like Flare Blitz, it's False Surrender, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, U-Turn, and Darkest Lariat, right? So I feel like AV Incin is really good this format, and if you are offensive, then it's nice. But if we choose not to, and again, remember we have screens, so like AV Incin behind screens is actually really nice, because now you're bulky on the physical side as well, and then you can take those Zacian close combats with the screen support. So I really like Adamant AV Incin. But on this kind of team, we're gonna go with the safety goggles just for like extra security against the Sun matchup, and we're gonna go Careful Nature Incin, where we're gonna not have any attack investment and just go up to the first bump here, which is 76 investment, and then the rest is going to be in defense. So this way, after an Intimidate, you can take that Zacian close combat, the Adamant one especially. Okay, so that's our safety goggles Incin spread. And now for Blastoise. So Blastoise, we're going to go modest here, no doubt about it. And then for our speed tier, we're just gonna go up to, I believe I like 114. Okay, so this way after Shell Smash, you can outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider and Calyrex Shadow Rider Speed Creepers. So basically everything that's important except Regieleki, right? But we have a Landorus for that, so we're not too worried about not outspeeding Regieleki. And then we can even do some calcs where when we're Dynamax and with screen support, we can survive Max Lightning, Life Orb, Regielekis, and I'll show you what all those calcs look like. But yeah, from here, let's just go 196 in terms of our special attack investment. I do like having 175 here, right? Just so that we optimize again the weather chip damage over time. So if I tell you the calc real quick, 175 divided by 16 is going to be 10.9, which rounds down to 10. So you're only going to take 10 weather damage per turn. And then from here, just 4 defense, and then the rest 20 points in regular defense. And we're gonna go with our white herb here, so this way when we go for Shell Smash, any stats that dropped returns back to normal. And we're gonna go Water Spout, believe it or not. Yeah, I really like Water Spout. I'll tell you why. So what you can do is you can go Grimmsnarl Blastoise, go for Scary Face, and now Blastoise is likely faster than the threat, and then you can just go Water Spout and then just punish, right? So I really like that. You can even do like Redirection Amoonguss and then click Shell Smash, and now your Blastoise is +2, and now, you know, even if your Amoonguss dies, you're +2 speed, +2 special attack, and then you can just go for the biggest Water Spout ever, and they won't expect it, right? They think, oh, it's Hydro Cannon. No, it's Water Spout. So it's almost like you have a weaker Kyogre on the team a little bit. Hey, Water Spout is Water Spout. Ice move, it is going to be Ice Beam here because we opted for the Thunderbolt on the Dialga. So this is what we're going to use against opposing Landoruses and like other flying types, along with Dialga's Thunderbolt. And then from here, I feel like Protect is just fine. On this, I thought about Flash Cannon, but then, you know, Protect is just too good in VGC right now. So yeah, I feel like everything that we have here is pretty good. Let me just make things shiny here because, you know, I like shiny mons. But yeah, now what we're gonna do is take a look at some of the damage calcs here. But let me just show you the pace here. And again, if you like the AV Incin here, I think it's pretty good. But again, I think just having a little bit more security than just only the Lando for the Sun matchup helps a lot. And one thing I will change here with the moveset actually is let me close this, not U-turn and Dark Area, but Parting Shot and Snarl. So this way we get a dark move against you know, Calyrex Shadow. So yeah, this is what I like here. I think it's overall really solid. We'll talk about like some of the fundamentals of VGC that we have on the team towards the end of the video, but now let me just show you some of the damage calcs, because we have a lot to talk about with the damage calcs. Alright, so let's look at Dialga first. So the thing with Dialga is it lives everything, especially because you have screens and Intimidate on your team. So this is a Adamant 252 Landorus, right? So without anything, Adamant 252 Life Orb Landorus, by the way, doesn't even KO Dialga, which is actually insane. And look how much Flash Cannon is doing to it, assuming it has like no bulk. That's really, really good. Now, if this was Dynamax, then Dynamax Landorus does kill non-Dynamax Dialga. Congratulations. But again, we have two sources of Intimidate on the team. So let's say we Intimidate it once. Now Landorus doesn't have that great of a shot to kill, or if we have a Reflect up, there you go. Again, we're not even Dynamaxed here, so I just want people to know that. And then what if we were Dynamaxed, and then now this Max Quake looks pitiful because, you know, at best you're doing like 30, almost barely a third of this damage. All right, a little more than a third, but again, and then you're going for like Max Steelspikes here, so like Landorus is just not a problem here. Now let's just look at Groudon here. Let's look at Groudon, and let's look at a Life Orb 252 Adamant Groudon, right? So we're assuming the worst possible scenario. So Adamant 252 Groudon, Precipice Blades on a non-Dynamax Dialga without any Intimidate or Reflect does kill Dialga. However, again, we have screens, so we will live that if it goes for it, or an Intimidate, same idea, we will live that. And if we have both, then that P-Blades looks kind of funny, because yeah. And then if we have Dynamax, and we'll Dynamax this, again, -1 with Reflect. Look at that Max Quake from an Adamant 252 Groudon. It doesn't even do 50%. Alright, and if you just have one of the two, like if you just Intimidate it, okay, they'll do about 60, you know, on average. And again, you're going for Steel Spikes here. And then if you just include the Reflect, even without a -1, same idea. I mean, you're doing about 60%. So again, really, really good that Dialga can just live all of this, and again, return with Max Steel Spike. So yeah, there's Groudon, there's Lando. What about Zacian? So let's just unmax this. So, and no screens, no Dynamax. So let's look at Zacian, let's look at Jolly Zacian, and then let's look at Adamant Zacian. So this one is the Adamant 252, I'm sorry, yeah, the Adamant 252 76 bump Zacian here. So close combat, if it's the first bump, will actually KO Dialga, just like everything else. But again, if you have screens like Reflect, okay, now with the Reflect, you're okay. So this is fine. And then if you have an Intimidate on it, then also okay. So it's fine. We're in business here. And then if you just Dynamax this, now look how much close combat is doing after Intimidate. Okay, so it's almost very pitiful damage. But what about if you have like second Adamant Zacian? Again, not much of a difference. What if you're Adamant 252 Zacian? Alright, I don't know too many people doing this, but Adamant 252 Zacian, you know, with a close combat, let's say just Intimidate by itself, right? With no screens, it's still a 3-hit KO, so very nice. And then of course we're KOing Max Quake over here because we're Life Orb, and of course if it was not Intimidated, and still even then with Dynamax, Zacian Adamant 252 close combat is not KOing Dialga without anything. No Intimidate, no Reflect. Okay, Dialga is just that good. Okay, so Sword Dog goes bye-bye. All right, we just click the Max Quake button and there it is, it's dead. So yeah, couple of really important calcs. So that was Zacian, that was Groudon, that was Landorus. So those are the three big ground type hitters. Okay, so Dialga, very, very good. It lives it all. So now let's just take a look at some of the others. Okay, so now let's take a look at Thundurus against our Blastoise. So we'll assume this is a Jolly Life Orb Thunderous, right? And this is our Blastoise set. So if we have Reflect, we'll live that Wild Charge without Dynamax. Okay, that's the first thing. If we didn't, of course we die. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's a Thunderous. But if we have Dynamax, right, and they Dynamax as well, without anything, we actually live their Max Lightning with our investment. So that's kind of cool that Blastoise can do this. And then, of course, we have Hailstorm to hit it for super effective damage. If there was a Reflect Up, then again, just overall, it just reduces its damage. It's pretty good. Not enough for a 2-hit KO, but hey, it's still damage. But if we have +2 from a Shell Smash, then things get interesting, right? Because then we have a pretty good chance to KO it if it's not AV and if it is the Life Orb set. Again, remember that the Landorus will lose some health after Life Orb chip, so that'll just more or less increase our chances of just one-shotting this thing. And then of course we will live a Max Lightning, and if we have the Reflect Up, then yeah, 100%. So I think it's really good that we can live a Life Orb Thunderous, and if this was AV, then that's even worse for them, right? Because then the AV Thunderous is just not doing as much damage. So yeah, really cool. Let's look at Regieleki, that demon. So let's look at Regieleki. We'll look with the Life Orb again. Let's say modest Life Orb, so Transistor. Okay, and we'll look at the Life Orb set. So where is this thing? All right, Life Orb, and then 252 special attack. All right, doesn't always happen, but yeah. And let's just say Thunder, right? Thunderbolt. So Thunderbolt, when Dynamax, okay, we'll live that at the very least, right? Non-max Regieleki. Of course, if it Dynamaxes, we die. But with the Reflect, okay, we will live this, and then we can just KO it with a G-MaxCannonade. I mean, that's after a Shell Smash, right? Of course, that it's a Regieleki, but without it, it's still pretty decent chip. We just need to get our Cannonade up, and then just knowing that I can live the Max Lightning is all that I care about, right? So that's pretty good. So great job, Regieleki. Now let's look at the grass types, right? Let's look at Venusaur and Rillaboom. So let's remove our Dynamax and stuff. So Rillaboom, we'll assume Adamant 252 Grassy Glide, not Grassy Glide, I'm sorry, Miracle Seed. So where is that? Rillaboom, custom set. Okay, so a Grassy Glide just KOs Blastoise, and a Wood Hammer can kill 2 Blastoises, right? If it's Adamant 252 Miracle Seed. But if we have Reflect Up, okay, we survive Grassy Glide, we still die to Wood Hammer. Okay, but again, if we have the Intimidate activated, then we can actually survive the Wood Hammer with our investment. Okay, so that's pretty good to know. And then, of course, if we're Dynamax, let's say we have no screens, just an Intimidate, then yeah, we very much take a Grassy Glide and even a Wood Hammer as well. And then if we do have Reflect Up, then Wood Hammer with Reflect and Intimidate is actually, you can actually do 3-hit KO. With that Adamant Miracle Seed Wood Hammer. So that's a pretty cool calc to know. And again, you have 2 Intimidators on your team, so this is actually very likely to happen. But again, if you don't have the Reflect, just 1 Intimidate, it's still pretty good. I mean, you'll just smash it with Max Hailstorm and then chip damage, and then you just win the game. Okay, so pretty good with the Blastoise here against the Rillaboom. Now let's take a look at the Venusaur. So Venusaur, we'll assume that it is modest 252 Life Orb. So modest 252. Okay, none of that defense stuff there. So again, let me just show you that I did put in 252. Let me move my thing down. Yep, there it is. So let's take a look and let's see the Leaf Storm. Okay, so we'll remove Dynamax first. So Leaf Storm absolutely destroys Blastoise. Again, just like other stuff, without Max, without screens or anything, yeah, it'll kill. If we have a light screen up, Leaf Storm has a pretty favorable roll to still kill Blastoise. Again, this is assuming modest 252 Life Orb, okay? The worst possible Venusaur, all right? If we have Dynamax up, if we have Dynamax with no screens, we live the Leaf Storm. So I know we can take a Leaf Storm when we're Dynamax, no screens, all right? With screens, then again, it's a low roll for 2-hit KO, but again, we can still we can still more or less take 1. Okay, so at the very least, there's that. And then if we can get it, you know, after -1 from a snarl, although not likely, then that's what that calc looks like. But probably not going to be able to do that. But at the very least, we know we can live the Leaf Storm. If this was Dynamax, let's say Vine Lash, right? So no light screen, just Dynamax against Dynamax. We actually live the Vine Lash, so that's good to know. And then we can also go for our own Hailstorm on the Venusaur. So again, not doing as much damage as their Vine Lash, but that's because we're not using our stab move. But what if we were +2? If we were +2, we can do big damage on their own Venusaur. So I do like that much. If we had light screen up, again, that's how much damage that Vine Lash is doing. So not too bad. Again, this is modest 252. If this was timid, let's look at timid Venusaur. If this was timid, then you get a roll for two hit KOs with the Vine Lash. All right, and without any screens, that's what this looks like. So I mean, overall, it's still not as great as the others, but still manageable. All right, we have other things for the Venusaur, like an Incineroar. All right, and even our Dialga can deal with it. But yeah, still pretty good. So overall, I feel like Blastoise can just tank a lot of things. So we showed you Regieleki, we showed you Thundurus, we showed you Venusaur now, and we showed you Rillaboom. So at least now you have an understanding of what you need to do in order to live these hits. Like, am I going to get an Intimidate off? Do I have screens? Do I have both? Do I have just one? Now you know. All right, so great that I could show you this. So now let's look at some of the other mons on the rest of the team and see how they do with the same kind of support. Okay, so now let's take a look at our Landorus spread. So our Landorus, the reason why we're running with 196 attack is if you look at our calc for Max Quake against the Adamant Bulky 252 Zacian, you always kill still with Max Quake. All right, that's how strong Landorus is. And again, with the Zacian, Behemoth Blade without any Intimidate or Reflect has a very high roll. It's a pretty good roll to KO you, but as long as you have one of the two, whether it's Intimidate or Reflect, then you're fine. So let's assume Reflect. Again, we very much live that. So just 63 to 75% roll. And then if you just Intimidate it once, then there's that. It's the same thing. But if you have the Reflect and the Intimidate, look at this calc. So Behemoth Blade is now pretty much guaranteed 3-hit KO, right? If I even just drop this one time, yeah, look at that, guaranteed 3-hit KO. 0.4, I don't even consider this. This is 0% to me. Okay, so yeah, this is first bump Zacian, and even if you're second bump Zacian with Intimidate and Reflect, that's still a very high roll for like a 3-hit KO still. I mean, you know, more power to them if they can still pull off the 2-hit KO. But yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have a chance. You're just gonna die to a Max Quake. So there's that. And then if this was like Adamant 252 Zacian, and again, it's still very favorable. What if you have just one of the two? Then again, you still live that with, as long as you have one of the two, whether you have a Reflect or an Intimidate. Even if this was 252 Adamant Zacian, the Behemoth Blade is not killing you, and then you KO right back with the Max Quake. So that's pretty good right there. So that's what I wanted to show with the Landorus. All right, so that's the main reason. And again, our speed tier is for outspeeding Venusaur. So actually, let's just take a look at what a Max Airstream does against a Venusaur. So let's just assume, again, no bulk, timid 252, and then also modest. But although that'll be the same thing, right? So if this was Dynamax, again, this Venusaur could live, okay? I'm just showing you the calc here. 18.8% chance to OHKO. I mean, that's still very much big damage against a Venusaur with this much investment. So I like my odds there. If they're the bulky, modest kind, okay, they'll live the Airstream, but ideally, you know, they're pretty much gone. And then, of course, if we have a Swords Dance up, even if they are the bulky one, you're dead. So there's that. So I really like how our Landorus does against a Venusaur here. And of course, Rillaboom, it's gonna die to Airstream, so without a doubt. But yeah, that's the main point with our Landorus. It was just the Zacian that was the main thing. So let's look at Incin and Amoonguss to wrap things up here. All right, so let's look at the Among Us next. So I know we're focused at here, but just to show you, this is Adamant 252 Zacian. We actually take the Behemoth Blade without any reflect or lights, without any reflect or intimidate. If we did have the reflect, one of the two, this is how much Behemoth Blade does. And then if you intimidate the Zacian as well, now look at this. Behemoth Blade is a 3-hit KO on the Among Us. That's kind of funny. What about like a Zacian, I'm sorry, an Incineroar kind of thing? What does a Flare Blitz look like? So a Flare Blitz from a 4-attack Incineroar, again, still won't even KO, even if we lost our Sash from like a Fake Out or something. And again, if we have Reflect up, then again, still we're living the Flare Blitz. And if we get our own Intimidate in, now the Flare Blitz just does nothing. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a bulky Among Us. Let's look at our own Incineroar. So our own Incineroar, I believe it's a little different. Let me just import that in real quick. So with our own Incin, it's all about living that close combat, right? So let me just change this real quick. Yeah, so Incin custom set, and then let's go back to Zacian. So Zacian, close combat, will without any intimidate kill this Incin, but if we have the intimidate off, okay, now we live the close combat, and that is why we EV the way we EV for our Incineroar. So really cool that we can do this, and of course, either way, whether you have Intimidate or Reflect up on the field. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the reason behind this Incin defensive spread. And again, we have all that speed, so this way we have the faster Fake Out. So yeah, the more impressive calcs was the Dialga and the Blastoise, right? So at least I showed a little bit more this time than I think the previous other two videos. But hey, I mean, this is a pretty good team that I've invested quite a bit of time on. So you know, just knowing these calcs on hand is really cool because I really like Dialga. So I took the time to look at more calcs. So now let's finally take a look at some practice battles and see how the team performs. Alright, so the first matchup looks like it's an Yveltal team, right? With Dragapult, Kartana, and Suicune. So pretty cool team. There's a Mamoswine here for some reason. I guess that's for Regieleki, but we don't have that. So our Dialga looks pretty good here because we have something for the Yveltal with Thunderbolt. We have Ice coverage for the Dragapult with Ice Beam on the Blastoise. We have a fire move with Incin, and I believe, and then Dialga with the Flash Cannon is good against the Mamoswine. I don't think he brings the Mamoswine to this matchup, honestly. I think maybe Kartana comes just because it has a fighting move for Dialga, and it's got a grass move against Blastoise. But again, we have two Intimidators on the team, so if he does bring it, he's in trouble. So yeah, let's just see how this match plays out, and let's see how we lead. So we're going to go with Among Us Blastoise here, and he goes with Incin and Kartana. So he does lead the Kartana, but fortunately we have the Among Us to help out our Blastoise. So again, he could Fake Out here, that's fine, but I have Incin in the back. So if I can just commit him to max here, and make him think he can kill our Blastoise, then that's pretty good. I'm just going to get in our Incin and punish that max if he does go for it. So I'm going to get in our Incineroar here. We're going to intimidate the Kartana. He does max, so we do punish that, and we go for Protect just to bait that out. He does Fake Out our Among Us slot instead of our Blastoise, so that was interesting. I could have just clicked Rage Powder and clicked Shell Smash, but I guess he thought the Among Us was more important. But yeah, so now he committed one turn of his max. He's intimidated. Now he's in trouble here a little bit. But all we have to do is just switch out our Blastoise for Among Us in case he goes for the Leaf Blade. But he actually targets the Incineroar with Max Knuckle. So that's a smart play. So he gets his attack back to neutral. But the problem with that is he takes a big Flare Blitz. And we take some big damage as well. But again, that's big damage on his max. So he does go for the parting shot, and he goes into his Yveltal now. And again, I'm still putting on pressure with the Among Us here. So again, I could Spore something, but I'm just going to go into our Blastoise here. I don't want to die with our Incin just yet. So he goes for another Knuckle. Blastoise does take that, and he protects the Yveltal from a Spore. So not too bad. Again, now the thing is his max is pretty much done, right? So yeah, he's back to normal, and then we can always max now. So I'm looking at the board here. My Amoonguss is at 100 HP, 100% HP. He's got 2 mons on the field. There's no fake out. I think this is the perfect time to go for the combo, which is Rage Powder and Shell Smash. He actually has Swords Dance on this Kartana. Alright, so that's very interesting. But here comes the Shell Smash. And again, if you're wondering why none of these stats healed, is because in the beginning he had Incineroar, and that just took out my White Herb. But again, I have the option to Dynamax now. My Amoonguss is still alive. I can go for another Rage Powder. And he actually goes for Sucker Punch for some reason. I take out the Kartana first. So that was another thing that was interesting. I could have took out the Yveltal there with an Ice move. So one of these things could go out with the Ice move. I thought he would switch out the Yveltal for the Incin and save his restricted. So I went for the other slot, but instead he kept his Yveltal in. So I got that read wrong for some reason. Apparently he thought that was better. But again, we have double residual damage with Cannonade and Max Hailstorm, and look how much damage Incin and Yveltal is doing. And he only has Dragapult in the back. So now I go into Dialga here, and remember we have Thunderbolt on Dialga, and Blastoise actually lives the Sucker Punch. So now Yveltal just goes bye-bye, right? And we live one more turn of Hail, and now he just has a Dragapult. And again, our Blastoise can still go first because we have Shell Smash, so he just forfeits. So yeah, not a bad game for Blastoise. That was pretty cool. So let's take a look at another one. Okay, so now this is a very interesting Kyogre team with Swampert that probably has Wide Guard. There's a Thundurus there. I'm gonna say that's Prankster Thundurus because he already has a Defiant user on the team with the Bisharp. And then there's a Metagross, which likes the rain. We showed that in our first video. And then there's a P2 for speed control. So he has no Tailwind. So I don't know about his choices here. Very interesting, but hey, to each their own. So now we'll just start the battle. He actually goes Thundurus Bisharp here. So he has double Defiant user, maybe because he probably thought I would lead one of the two Intimidators, but we don't play that way. So Amoonguss Blastoise felt safe yet again. I mean, there's no fake out here. He actually maxes the Thundurus, so I'm fine with this because I'm just going to redirect the Airstream, and I'm just going to go for Shell Smash on the Blastoise and power up my Blastoise here. He actually goes for Night Slash, so down goes Amoonguss, but the Amoonguss did its job. So we redirected everything, our stats get healed with the White Herb, and now we can bring in our Grimmsnarl from the back. So now we can provide extra screen support and punish this max here that he just did. Alright, so we're going to max our Blastoise, we're going to go for our Reflect. We know it's physical. Max Lightning does no damage, does half, but again, now we just take out the Thundurus with Max Hailstorm, and there goes his Dynamax. So again, the value of Grimmsnarl's screens is what helped us live the Max Lightning with our Blastoise, and yeah, and then we just punished him by taking it out. Alright, so there's the Iron Heart on the Grimmsnarl, obviously not going to do that much damage. And then from here, there's a Swampert here, but again, we're preparing for the end game, so I just go for the Cannonade, take out the Bisharp. Light Screen just to help against Kyogre if he has it in the back. I don't even care if I lose Grimmsnarl this turn because I got both my screens up. Just goes for Bulk Up here, so that's interesting. And there's the Kyogre here, so brings out the rain, but again, you're just helping my G-MaxCannonade. I do try for Scary Face to set up for the end game for Dialga, but again, now the game's pretty much over because now I can now threaten Scary Face again, even though he clicked Protect, and Dialga's coming in with a Thunderbolt with the terrain already set. So thank you, Thundurus. So there's the Scary Face, and I'll just go for a Water Spout here. We do get a crit. That crit doesn't matter. I just need to chip the Kyogre a little bit. So Grimm goes down, Blastoise lives, and now here comes Dialga behind screens. There's a little bit more Ice Beam chip. We freeze him, but that doesn't matter because we have Thunderbolt, and we're Life Orb, and we're Dialga. So GG's there. Again, you saw the power of Blastoise Amoonguss yet again. And then late game screens, my opponent just can't do anything. We overwhelmed him. So let's take a look at one more. Okay, so this is a pretty cool team. This is Kyurem White with a Blastoise and a Tailwind user of their own with Trick Room. There's a Salamence and there's a Thundurus. So he has some nice ideas here. He can go Weakness Policy Kyurem with Draining Kiss Comfey, I would imagine. He can go Trick Room Comfey just to help out the Kyurem if he needs the slow mode. He's got Whimsicott for fast mode and Fake Tier support most likely for the Blastoise and the Kyurem. And the Salamence also benefits from the Tailwind, and it also benefits from Thundurus because, you know, Defiant, and, you know, if you intimidate the Salamence, now the Thundurus can be Poison Sweep. So he's got a pretty cool team, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually really nice. But I feel like we can still overwhelm him with what we have here. So let me show you what that means. So we're gonna go Dialga Grimmsnarl here, and there's the Thundurus, and there's Blastoise. So this actually tells me one thing here. So again, I'm not sure, and this is kind of the game that you have to play with the Thundurus. This is either Prankster Thundurus or Defiant, and based on the fact that he led it with Blastoise, I'm gonna say this is likely Prankster Thundurus with something like Eerie Impulse or even Leer. But I don't think it's Leer because he has a bunch of special attackers here, but this is probably like some sort of prankster move here. So I'm not going to Dynamax the Dialga, but instead I'm going to go for Trick Room and then just get up my screens with my Grimmsnarl. So I feel like that's safe. I don't want to commit the max here. So he actually goes for Superpower. So this is actually the physical Thundurus, and there's the Shell Smash from the Blastoise. And now things get interesting, but I do click Trick Room, so nice Shell Smash from the Blastoise there. So now that I know that this is physical Thundurus, now I can just smash with my Dialga here, and I know there's no Eerie Impulse coming, and I can just get my screens up again later. So he actually goes into Comfey. That's fine by me, because now I max the Dialga. There's the Blastoise max. We get the Reflect up. I'm just gonna go straight for the Blastoise and then just eliminate it. Okay, so well done, Blastoise. You did your best. There's a helping hand there, but again, none of these things want to take any of these attacks. So we'll go for the Spirit Break onto the Kyurem and then just take out the Comfey with our Dialga here. And there's really nothing he can do now. Look how much Earth Power does. Jack, this is a base 170 Mon going against a max Dialga behind screens. Grimmsnarl alone took it out, and now we just remove the Thundurus with our own Max Lightning. So this is what Dynamax does. The game's over in just like 2 or 3 turns. But yeah, you saw yet again the power of Grimmsnarl's screens. All right, Blastoise and Dialga, again, they did their job. We didn't even use the Landorus. The Landorus is basically for the Sun matchup. So if we don't run into Sun, or even like an opposing Zacian, then we don't need to bring it. Blastoise and Dialga is all you need with Grimmsnarl support and Amoonguss support. So yeah, that's how it is. And now let's just take a look at the pace one last time. Alright, so again, this is the Pokepaste one last time for our Dialga squad here. And again, this is a team that I've invested quite a bit of time trying to perfect. Blastoise is really good this format, especially when you can hide behind screens and really put a difference maker on the damage calcs. Speaking of damage calcs, again, you have Intimidate support, which can help Blastoise live those physical moves like the Rillaboom attacks and the Thundurus attacks. And then your screens, especially your light screen, can really help out against Regieleki, against, you know, Venusaurs, any really special attackers. And oh, I forgot to calc for Kartana, but again, I mean, Reflects and Intimidates, we're fine against Kartana. Dialga, same idea with, you know, you're surviving close combats, you're surviving Groudon moves, Landorus moves. So, you know, Grimmsnarl really helps out again, and just Dialga's overall bulk is just so good. Especially when you can get off Max Steelspikes and Max Quakes. And don't forget, your Landorus, you can Earthquake next to your own Dialga, by the way, because you are Telepathy, so it does work. And you can also max your Landorus and go for Max Quake and power up your Dialga that way. So that always helps. So yeah, I mean, overall great synergy. You have screen support, you have Fake Out, you have Double Intimidate, you have Redirection, you have Speed Control with Scary Face and Trick Room. So a lot of good utility, a lot of good tools for a VGC team here, and I expect it to do really well, especially if I put this in the hands of the right player. So if someone is watching this and you want to try and use this Dialga squad, feel free to use it, because I think it's actually very, very good. It's solid. You can climb quite a bit with this because you have answers to a lot of the meta. So yeah, we'll definitely get this out in the rental code video for day 1. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll be back next time with one more team building video before we get out that first day rental code. Peace out.